Hi everybody, it's Stephanie. Again, I'm here with another issue, another installation of City Museum On Air Live. This is Maria and I's show, Musings with Stephanie and Maria, and glad to have you all here today. All right, so my name is Stephanie Von Drasik. I am the retail director and historian by virtue of tenacity with City Museum in St. Louis, Missouri, which you probably already know if you're on our page, but it never hurts to over-identify, I guess. How are you all doing? We are at the, boy, that was very Linda Richmond-like, wasn't it? Okay. We are at the beginning of our third week of the museum being closed and the beginning of our second week of working from home. And it's definitely very different. You know, we would be in full swing of spring break right now, talking to and getting to visit with thousands of you every day. And we really miss that interaction. That, hi Maria. That has really become the rhythm of life for us after 20 years or whatever, and we really look forward. Oops, we're back. Okay, I got to reconnect thing just then. Anyway, we really look forward to spring break. We really look forward to summer. We really look forward to seeing everybody at the museum, and you know that's kind of an energy we're not getting right now. So we're doing the best we can, keeping it together and getting to talk to everybody. Okay, so. I will tell you, though, yesterday I got to spend 6 hours in the backyard cleaning up, which is something I get to do like once a year, you know. It's usually in February, and then as soon as spring break starts, that's over. So not only did I get to clean up, I will also get to plant things, and I'll get to sit out there. So I'm kind of looking forward to that. It's some consolation. Anyway, so let me tell you again. My name's Stephanie Von Drasik, and I'm the retail director and historian by virtue of tenacity, because I've been there so long at City Museum. So we're still doing City Museum from home. And again, big props for me to actors and Instagram influencers and reality show actors, because it's a little trickier. I found myself when I did watch TV this weekend, I was, paying more attention to how actors interacted with each other and trying to think how you do that with a camera, looking at you. So it's kind of funny. Anyway, hi Nancy. Hi Lori. I still don't have a puppy, Lori, so say hello to little Dawn for me. Dawn is her new dog. Anyway, so reality shows, by the way, did you know that the first reality show was a PBS show called An American Family? And in 1971, they followed this family, the Loud family, and yes, that's their real name, the Loud family, for 6 months. And over the course of the time, the parents got divorced. None of this was planned. None of it was scripted. And I'm always a little surprised that doesn't get more attention, because it really was the forerunner of today's reality shows. Hi, Holly. Anyway, so we're supposed to chatter on here a bit till we get some people on, so I've got a few. So on Friday, I touched on a little bit of how people's personal collections make up a big part of, or a good-sized part of the City Museum experience. Back in the early days, especially in the early days, we had 187,000 square feet. It still boggles my mind, of space to fill. So while Bob and crew and everybody were building huge, wonderful things, there was still a lot of space to fill. It's more than that now because we've added the 4th floor. But so certain people's collections kind of piqued Bob's interest. Hello, Dawn. Scratch your head for me, please. Again, Dawn's a dog. Anyway, so early on, certain people's collections would pique Bob's interest, and I figured that we got space to fill, and, other people would be interested as well. And that is how we ended up with the Shoelace Factory. That's how we ended up with the Bug Room, the opera posters, the Architectural Museum, and in fact, the entire architectural component of the museum. I hope I'm not dropping out. I keep getting this trying to reconnect thing. A message. Anyway, most recently, the expanded vintage pinball arcade. Again, that's all one guy's machines, and he still has more. So anyway, so today I'm going to share with you another collection you won't see in the museum, and that is some of my vintage Playboy Club material. You know what? Before we get started, I have to show you this. Something I forgot to. And those of you that know me know that I do this all the time, so I'm doing pretty good. Something I forgot to show you with my Bagnall Dam collection was the giant matchbooks. The giant matchbook with the giant matches. You'll notice they have a fish on them. Now again, why you'd need a giant matchbook for your visit to the dam, I don't know, but it's kind of cool, isn't it? But I digress. Hi, Heather, Lindsay, HL. Hi, girl. All right. I digress. It happens. I won't do it anymore. All right, so marketing is an essential component of any successful business. I'm sure nobody would argue that. It's something, however, that we really didn't do for most of the early years of the museum. Yeah, we were too busy building. They were too busy building and basically trying to catch up with people coming to see us, trying to catch up with our visitorship. So we were too busy creating and building, and plus we had our founder who pretty much kept us in the news by what the things we do, and some outrageous things that would happen at the museum. But there was always something going on that would kind of keep us in the public eye, you know. So pretty much everything back in those days, there was some reaching out to the press, of course, but by and large, it's been word of mouth. Almost for most of the museum's existence. We had no cohesive marketing department until very recently, and I mean very recently, within the last year. So it's been really neat. Now we have a crack team of people, ladies really, shepherding the museum into the 21st century, and it's really It's really expanded the experience, both internally and externally, for our people who work there and for our customers. So it's been a very positive experience, you know. Recently, we've been doing a branding survey, rebranding experience, and maybe some of you have taken the survey since last summer. And it's possible that for the first time in 20 years, we'll have a new logo. So that really got me to thinking about logos, believe it or not. One of my favorites of all time is the Playboy rabbit head, as you can see behind me. Playboy itself was brilliant at marketing, I'll tell you this. The rabbit head logo itself, stylized, clean, and modern. It was designed in the 1950s, and it still looks as well, I don't know about fresh, because it really is iconic at this point, but it still looks as modern as it did, however many, 60 years ago. Yeah, 60 years ago, more than that. The rabbit head has never needed any tweaking or redesign. It's been internationally recognized for decades. And the rabbit has appeared on every cover of the magazine, at least from the second one up through the 90s. I assume it still does now. I haven't actually seen one in a long time. But it appeared on every one. Sometimes it was really obvious. Sometimes, more often than not, it was kind of hidden, kind of creating a game for readers or lookers, creating a game for the Playboy readership. I was looking for a good example that didn't have a naked lady on the cover. And so here we go. And baby gal, if you're out there, you're going to like this. So do you see the rabbit head on here anywhere? It's not so obvious, right? Doesn't anybody see it? Okay, I'll give you a hint. Here. It's here in the reflection, and yeah, I need a manicure, of the light on the toe of her boot. So there. Kind of hard to see, but as soon as you found it every month, you found it, and it's a lot of fun. So it would be sometimes hidden in a like a water droplet or a little strand of hair, or if there was some, like she had sparkly earrings on or something, it would be hidden maybe in the sparkle of an earring or something. So it's kind of a fun thing. I mean, even as a little kid. Well, I mean, let's not even go there. But as a little kid, I would find the rabbit head on the Playboy, often. Maybe not every month, but often. Anyway, so the rabbit head. They also, they were fairly forward thinking on this as well. In 1956, they started to. Thanks for the hearts. In 1956, they started to license merchandise, things like cufflinks and tie bars, tie tacks, and ladies' jewelry, always very small, understated, bracelets or necklaces or ankle bracelets in the fashion of the time. Anyway, Playboy was really one of the very first to market a lifestyle brand. Before that was a clearly defined concept. It's difficult now to understand the social influence and significance that Playboy had in its heydays, really in the 60s and into the very early 70s. But from the very beginning, they aimed at themselves. There I go again. They aimed themselves at being more than just another pinup magazine. A popular joke at the time was, I get it for the articles. I read it for the articles. But true enough, Playboy was much, much more than just the centerfold and various pictorials. The Playboy interview was every month they interviewed heads of state, cultural figures, writers, authors, politicians, musical people. The very first interview was Alex Haley interviewing Miles Davis. That was in September of 1962. So that was 14 years before Roots and just 2 or 3 years after Miles had released Kind of Blue. So, there's a lot going on in that statement there, culturally anyway. Playboy supported artists and writers from the beginning. In fact, the first serialized Fahrenheit 451, the Ray Bradbury classic, of course, in 1954, before that was published as a book. They invited fine and contemporary artists to contribute to the illustrations for the magazine, where formerly only commercial artists would do that kind of thing. And they also had a fine food and beverage section. They would teach you how to, every time they would teach you how to make drinks. I'll get that over here. But anyway, and seek to elevate, they sought to elevate and influence popular lifestyle first through the magazine, then through books and TV, movies, travel, and ultimately the early Playboy clubs. That's me. Hey, Rick. Oh, I have something for you in a minute. Anyway, through the early Playboy clubs. So the early Playboy clubs, they were among the first to really implement the membership model. You had to belong. You had to be a member in order to join. And when you joined, and the dues were something like $5 or something, and you got a real key. These are real Playboy Club keys. They were numbered with your membership number on them. Oh, wait, maybe this is a better thing. There. So they'd have your membership number on them. I don't think they actually opened any doors. I think they figuratively opened doors, but who knows. Later versions, of course, later they went to cards and whatnot, but these early ones, they used real keys, which was kind of a nice, solid perk. There was also a VIP and also a magazine for members. So of course, long before there were websites or anything, they had to be able to keep you updated on what was going on in the clubs and whatnot. You know, so it was a monthly thing that would keep you updated on what was going on. Beautiful, nice, slick magazine, which I have, but that was one of the few things I couldn't find to show you today. Anyway, and the club experience gave you access to fine food, great entertainment, beautiful people, arguably beautiful people. On the entertainment front, they really did feature the best in classic and contemporary entertainment. A lot of comedians were broke in the club circuit. They featured singers from Mabel Mercer to Liza Minnelli. A lot of jazz, because that was cool. Everybody from Ike and Tina Turner to Bob Newhart. They also had a couple of different rooms in every club. They'd have the living room, then they'd have the cabaret. So there would be any number of different things going on anytime when you'd visit a Playboy club. So what made it so much fun? Clubs across the U.S. offered a consistent experience. They had a contemporary look, luxury look, and their decor, teak wood, leather. They all have kind of a Mondrian kind of glass screens and whatnot. Very similar to what was reproduced here. I'll get to that in a minute. The club circuit entertainment was great and was on a circuit. So, you know, if you saw Ike and Tina in St. Louis, or you didn't get to see them in St. Louis, if you were in the club in New York or Chicago or San Francisco, they would probably play that circuit and you'd get to see it, and someone would get to see them over the course of a couple of months. Food and drinks across the board were priced the same, offered the same. And here's where the marketing starts to come in. Prices were cheap. $1.50 for a cocktail, a steak dinner, or a cigarette, or a pack of cigarettes. And so here you go. When you got a pack of cigarettes, you got the lighter along with it. And these are quality lighters. These are not, you know, these are enamel and rhodium, nice lighters. You know, again, 60 years from now still existed, and if I knew how to fix these things, I'm sure they'd still work. So for $1.50, you'd get that. For $1.50, you'd get your, I gotta show you that one in a minute. You'd get your drink in the mug, or in the glass, and you'd take those things home, because, you know, that way you can continue the Playboy experience in your house. They have these, and look at this, okay? So they have these really nice, sleek, curved shapes. There is actually a larger version of this, well, shaped like this, but this one is not as pretty. This one is, and VIP, okay, VIP was one of the rooms in the club. So these nice, sleek, curved shapes. There's, like I say, a larger version of this, but I no longer have any because I've used them over the years, and they break. But I'll tell you, they're a joy to hold. It's really nice glass to drink out of. And you'll notice then that the logo is on everything you see. Here's the rabbit. Here's the rabbit again. And this nice matte black tankard kind of a thing. But still, well designed, very sleek, nice thing to hold. Something you'd want in your own house, you know. And it's, here we go. And it's subdued. It's nice. Oh, I got boxes, Maria. The club logo featured on napkins. Contemporary. And Matches. I guess if you needed to light something, you weren't going to buy a pack of cigarettes. I don't know. But very well designed and still contemporary looking today. The other logo that you see on the club merchandise a whole lot is the Femlin. And this was drawn by the house artist, and I always have to like, this is drawn by who is essentially Playboy's house artist, Leroy Neiman. And Rick right now is saying, I hate that guy. It's a personal thing. Leroy Neiman was became an extremely well-known artist in the 60s outside of Playboy, just because he was kind of everywhere. He documented pretty much every important occasion, and some that were not so important. I mean, he was a very prolific guy, very prolific artist. But anyway, and you know, kind of known for this sort of vulgar palette he likes to use, but that's very bright colors. But anyway, but he drew. Anyway, he drew the Femlin, and she kind of became, you know, the face of her body of Playboy. Femlin she's a female gremlin. So they actually started drawing her for the Playboy's party jokes, in which she would, you know, hang off things and make all kinds of little scamper about the pages and whatnot. Anyway, the most brilliant piece of marketing that they used in the Playboy clubs, however, were the bunnies, obviously. Bunnies were also trained for consistency and high standards. Absolutely. There was a bunny mother in every club. And so she was like the overseer. She was the manager. She was the girl she was the woman that the girls went to for advice. She kept everybody on the straight and narrow. But she also trained them all. And they were absolutely trained the same across the board, every club. Drink trays were set up in a certain way, and they were called out to the bartender in a certain way. The bunnies were absolutely required to conduct themselves with a certain amount of decorum. The fact that they developed a highly stylized form of service that included the bunny dip, which was a way of serving drinks that didn't involve bending over so that you weren't falling out of the costume. The Playboy Club was for men and women, and it was designed also to not make other women patrons feel uncomfortable. So that was part of it, but it was really mostly to project a certain classy image and to keep the bunnies safe. I'll go into that a little bit more. So the bunny dip and then the bunny perch. They were not allowed to lean. They would sort of perch on a bar stool. You couldn't really sit. But again, it also contributed to the experience. You were not going to go to a club and see, girls sitting on a bar stool, looking at their phones, hanging out, trying to make anybody uncomfortable, and vice versa. Bunnies, there was a strict rule that bunnies and customers were not allowed to date. I mean, obviously, I'm sure that was broken at some point, but they were not allowed to date. Members were not allowed to hit on bunnies, basically, or anything like that. My husband is singing in the background. Management had their backs. If a customer was out of line, he would be asked to leave for that night. Nobody wanted that. It was a little bit of a different time. There's a little more sense of decorum. I act like I was there and I wasn't. I just have this thing going on. Anyway, but the number one way of creating consistency is the bunny outfit, which is recognized the world over. This is a real one. There's not a whole lot of these. I mean, there's not a whole lot of these out on the markets because the girls were not allowed to take their costumes with them most of the time when they would leave. I will tell you this. So this poor thing, it doesn't even fit on the mannequin. These things are of extraordinary construction. And they gave everybody the same figure. So it doesn't matter if you were very slight, very tiny, or very voluptuous. It all created the construction of this costume created the same S curve. And there's a great picture that I wanted to be able to show you, and it's in a book, and there's just too many naked ladies around it. But there's a great picture of a whole line of bunnies, and all rainbow outfits, but they all have the same shape. So it was really, in a way, it was another way of creating a consistent experience for the customer. Yeah. So this poor thing, I can't even, this requires a more malleable human form, because you really do have to, it's a marvel of construction. I will disclose, full disclosure, no judgment. When I bought this thing, I could actually put it on, and it was very, very thin and very, very tiny at the point. And it really does. It makes you into that shape, you know, which is just kind of a neat thing in its way. Now, something that may not ever fly today, who knows? But at the time, let me throw this out there. At the time, I was reading a book from which a lot of the bunnies reminisce. And so, you know, they say at the time, cocktail waitressing in a skimpy costume or a skimpy outfit was a very common job for young women coming up. Bunnies often say that they felt very confident, very taken care of, and they also made great money just from being paid. You know, they paid it back then. It was something like $45 a night plus tips. Hard work, of course, but if you look at back then, I always like to make the well, for example, my grandparents at the time had a brand new 3-bedroom ranch house, and it was like $112 a month house payment or something. So they were making good money. Not that that's worth everything, but anyway. So, by the way, here's a tail. Here's the ears. And even the ears are really tight. And the collar on that thing is so tiny, I couldn't even get it on the mannequin. And by the way, no, this does not sit here on my makeup table. I got her out just for you. So, is it out there? Okay. So, there were 2 incarnations of the Playboy Club in St. Louis. The original one that was opened by Playboy. It was on Lindell. That building is still standing. I think it's owned by SLU now. It's Lindell and not Sarah. Anyway, it's a really distinctive building. It still looks pretty much like it did. I guess it's been, I know the club has been gone for a long time. There was a barbecue restaurant in there last, and that's probably been 15 years ago that it's been closed. So, long gone. There was a later version, a franchise in a Ramada Inn in South County, also long gone. That was a little bit different time. So Playboy Club's heyday lasted roughly the latter half of the 60s. International expansion, years of extraordinarily bad business decisions caused the fall of the Playboy empire. A lot of gross, nasty things happened, unfortunate things, and it became kind of a bloated parody of itself. It doesn't really exist now. I know that the magazine still exists. I read on Yahoo a week or so ago that I guess the current issue, or maybe last month's issue, has a pictorial on older playmates, including Candace Collins, who is from Dupo, Illinois. She was a playmate in 1979, which was a big thing then. Anyway. Hi, Lindsay. Anyway. Playboy, the empire doesn't really exist now. And that's fine, because it's an anachronism. It served its purpose for the time. But the rabbit head logo remains, to me, one of the most compelling and attractive logos of all time. So, all right, everybody. Thanks for watching. Again, hi, Lindsay. Anyway, thanks for watching. This has been a lot of fun. you know, trying to do City Museum from home, as I said before, is a little bit of a stretch, but we do the best we can. And I hope you all are enjoying the videos that we've done. Maria does some things from the archives over the course of the week. Angela's doing a great job. Angela and Nancy are both doing a great job with some instructional videos, and CJ just does whatever CJ is going to do, and it's always a lot of fun. Anyway, thanks. I hope you're enjoying it. And hope to see us all back at the museum soon. Bye-bye.